to certify that the station conforms to the standards established by the NCA for radio broadcasting in Ghana. It is upon the grant of the test transmission authorization or a certificate of compliance that the station can commence operation. This process, Mr. Speaker, is not optional. It is the legal foundation for ensuring that our national spectrum is used responsibly, professionally, and in the public interest. Mr. Speaker, the term of an FM radio broadcasting authorization is 5 years. Under Regulation 56 of the ECR 2011, a renewal application must be submitted to the NCA at least 3 months, 90 days before the expiration of the existing authorization. Failure to comply with this 90-day prior timeline results in the application or any new application being treated as a new application before the NCA. In fact, the Electronic Communications Tribunal, chaired by Justice Dateba, affirmed this position in the case of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association versus the NCA Appeal Number ECT/APP/002/2017. Mr. Speaker, on 12 February 2025, shortly after I assumed office as the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, I issued a directive to the NCA to produce a complete listing of frequency authorizations granted or renewed within the preceding 60 days. The objective of the audit was to produce an accurate and up-to-date inventory of all assigned, unassigned, and unauthorized frequency holdings in Ghana. It sought to identify cases of spectrum hoarding, detect underutilized frequency bands, and strengthen enforcement action against entities operating outside the law. Mr. Speaker, alarming revelations unearthed by the initial exercise necessitated me to expand this directive to a nationwide forensic audit of all FM broadcasting authorizations aimed at discharging our sacred duty to manage state assets with integrity. This is part of our Operation Recover All Loot initiative, ORAL. Mr. Speaker, the NCA's audit showed several cases of non-compliance with the regulation and conditions of broadcasting authorization. The preliminary audit revealed over 600 active radio stations with frequencies, many of which were inactive, expired, or improperly renewed.
Looking to level up your life and business game? Welcome to the #1 podcast for business and self-development. Connected.
The NCA has commenced phase 2 of our regulatory enforcement following the broadcasting regulation frequency audit. This phase targets several categories of non-compliant FM stations whose operations contravene existing laws and regulations and includes the following. Group 1, 28 FM radio stations who are currently operating with expired authorizations. Despite the NCA instructing these stations to cease operations in 2024, several of these stations have continued broadcasting unlawfully. These actions constitute a violation of Section 2.4 of the Electronic Communications Act 2008. Group 2, 14 FM stations, which were issued notices of revocation for failure to establish operations within the required 2-year period following the grant of the authorizations. These stations later requested technical inspections but have not completed the process and have continued to broadcast in violation of Regulation 54 of the Electronic Communications Regulation LI 1991. Group 3, 13 FM stations which applied for authorization to continue operating and have been issued provisional authorization but have not settled the provisional authorization fees in full. Mr. Speaker, without payment of these fees, their authorizations are invalid and their broadcast is a violation of Section 2.4 of Act 775. The last group of stations that we took action on this morning are 7 FM stations who have paid their provisional authorization fees but have not yet received final authorization in fulfillment of the technical and regulatory requirements under Regulation 54 of LI 1911. Mr. Speaker, Spectrum is a finite and highly valuable national resource. It is a public good held in trust for the people of Ghana. Those granted access must therefore comply strictly with all applicable legislations. Mr. Speaker, a few minutes ago, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President, directed that the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation work with the regulator, the NCA, to allow all the affected radio stations some additional time to correct the identified breaches within a defined time frame. Those who fail to do so shall have their authorizations formally revoked under the law. In line with this directive from His Excellency the President, the Ministry and the NCA have granted a further 30-day grace period to all defaulting entities. Mr. Speaker, this is not the same as the arbitrary revocations and hefty fines imposed under the previous administration. As the current government, the Ministry has also been instructed to waive all the applicable fines that should have been applied to the defaulting entities. Mr. Speaker, since morning, I have received calls from colleagues on both sides of the aisle, notifying me that some interests they may hold have been affected by the ongoing exercise. Dear honorable colleagues, we passed the laws and have a high bar set for ourselves as honorable members of this august house. We need to lead the way with exemplary conduct. As a ministry and regulator, we are status agnostic and will be fair to everyone irrespective of ethnic, religious, political, or social affiliation. Mr. Speaker, let me, just for the records, name the stations that have been affected. Table 1, FM stations that have been issued expiry of authorization letters for failure to apply for renewal. Number 1, Life World Broadcast Limited, operating in Offenso on 94.3 FM. 2, Akpini Communication Limited, operating in Pando on 96.7 FM. 3, Victory FM in Aflao, operating on 96.1 FM. 4, Oracle Multimedia, operating in Nadoli on 88.5 FM. 5, Jewel Group Limited in Duayao, Kwanta, operating on 102.7. 6, Bolton Portfolio Limited, operating in Nkoko on 96.9 FM. 7, the Ghana Institute of Journalism, operating in Accra on 97.7 FM. 8, Obrempong FM, operating in Agona Swedru on 91.7 FM. 9, KD Community Multimedia, operating in Kede on 92.5 FM. 10, Skoja Limited, operating in Joje on 94.5 FM. 11, Press Express Limited, also known as Daily Guide, operating in Accra on 91.5 FM. Obra FM Limited, operating in Takrady on 89.3 FM. Unity Broadcasting Limited, operating in Impoho, 88.7 FM. Jimas FM Limited, operating in Yeji, 102.3 FM. Kantanka Media Limited, operating in Cape Coast, 92.1 FM. Bewa Radio, operating in Yendi, 106.5 FM. Unique Gateway Communication Limited, operating in Nkoko, 105.7 FM. Ken International Company Limited, operating in Achim Swedru, 89.1 FM. Dreams Ghana Media, operating in New Abirim, 104.9 FM. Velvet Beam Foundation, operating in Asankrigwa, 92.9 FM. Magic Group Company, operating in Salaga, 101.9 FM. Don Plus Multimedia, operating in Ho, 105.9 FM. Teslite Company Limited, operating in Wa, 96.7 FM. Global Media, Tepa, 97.3 FM. IMAX Media, Tamale, 104.3 FM. Limanya Radio, Wa, 95.7 FM. Pandai Star Radio, operating in Pandai, 107.3 FM. Ebiamo FM, operating in Jomoro on 100.5 FM. They've all been shut down. Table 2, FM stations that were issued revocation notices. Act Forum Ghana Limited, operating in Akpafumimpiasem 88.1 FM. Chinias Empire Limited, operating in Tumu 96.3 FM. Confidence Commodities, operating in Swaman Dadieso 90.7. F5 Eagles Company, operating in Ajuafua 93.7. Neat FM Limited, operating in Tamale 105.3 FM. Primary Stars Limited, operating in Banda 102.5 FM. Subampa Community Radio in Barakesi 96.7 FM. Wasaman FM in Atieku on 101.9 FM. Mr. Speaker, number 9, Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited. Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited, operating in Takrady on 101.3 FM. Number 10, Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited, operating in Accra on 95.9 FM. Jimbali Community Association in Jimbali 95.9. Kingdom Dynamic Kukrantumi 93.3. Pro Royal Investment in Tepa 94.7. And Resurrection Television in Takrady 99.3. Table 3, Siadarak Enterprise in Edukrom 95.5. Bangu Company Tamale 97.3. Jam Multimedia in Kintampo 101.3. Chameleon Communication in Wa 91.1. Chaka Multimedia in Jasikan 88.7. Clickshot Multimedia in Shama 89.9. Free Minds in Tema 104.5. Gemsak Media Network in Nswatre 103.3. Mediacast Limited in Kumasi 102.5. Mobile Zone in Bolgatanga 94.3. Ultimate Multimedia in Tamale on 107.1. West FM in Ho on 97.5. Western Salam Company Limited in Takrady 89.7. And Mr. Speaker, the final table, 7 stations. Asasi Broadcasting Company Limited in Accra on 99.5 FM. Dynamic Chapters Limited in Wenchi on 95.7. Global Media Alliance in Accra on 98.9. God Steve Media Association in Atimpoku on 87.7. Rejoice FM in Mim on 101.7. Sankofa in Takrady on 98.7. And Sweet FM in Chifopraso on 106.5. Mr. Speaker, our goal is not punishment, but accountability, order, and the responsible stewardship of a public critical resource. This is not routine housekeeping. This is a declaration against impunity, abuse, and inertia. The airwaves do not belong to the powerful and connected. They belong to the public, and we are duty-bound to govern them transparently and effectively. Our fight is not against free speech. It is against lawlessness, asset misappropriation, and regulatory defiance. I remain committed to reclaiming what rightfully belongs to the Ghanaian people and laying the foundations for a fair, modern, and technologically equipped broadcasting sector. Once again, Mr. Speaker, due to the clemency His Excellency the President has asked for, there is 30 days from today for all defaulting media houses to rectify their defaults and breaches. And Mr. Speaker, the ministry has shown that we are willing to reinstate. Earlier this year, we shut down 6 media houses who have all rectified their breaches and they have been reinstated. We urge the defaulting media houses to take advantage of the President's clemency for 30 days. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.